Welcome, this is Lance Hood, and tonight's call is going to be the tipping point for a lot of people who've been spinning their wheels, for people who seem to be doing everything right and are still not getting the results they should be. In tonight's special training with Dr. Robert Anthony, he's going to explain how each one of us lives in a hypnotic trance. Some people live in the trance of happiness and abundance, but most people live in the trance of struggle. The only way to change our trance from struggle to success, wealth, or happiness is to change our subconscious blueprint. Our current blueprint determines if we have the ability to create wealth now or in the next 30 days, 60 days, or for the rest of our life. The important lesson he wants to share is that our blueprint can only be accessed subconsciously. It cannot be accessed with the conscious mind. Dr. Anthony will explain how this works and why he feels self-hypnosis is the fastest way to change your blueprint. Here is our guarantee to you. You will walk away today with a new understanding of how the subconscious mind works, how to communicate with it in a language it understands, why affirmations are the slowest way to change your subconscious patterns, and how to instruct your subconscious to act as your partner in creating whatever you desire in the next 30 days. So be sure to stay tuned to this entire training, because at the end, Dr. Anthony has promised to reveal the number one thing that you must do now, today, to start seeing measurable results in your life. He will explain why 95% of the people who take wealth creation courses, purchase books, audio programs are still broke. The one thing you must do to break through this barrier so that you do not waste your valuable time and money. Once you know how to do this, the doors will fly wide open, and everything that you've learned from him and other teachers will become usable and produce results that may have been eluding you up until now. Here's just a little bit about Dr. Robert Anthony. He is an undercover secret for some of the most successful people on the planet. For the past 30 years, he spent his life unraveling the mysteries of the mind. During that time, he earned a PhD in behavioral psychology and has worked as a psychotherapist, NLP practitioner, master hypnotist, personal performance trainer, and business coach. He's authored over 15 books and has been published in 22 countries. His flagship books are Beyond Positive Thinking and The Ultimate Secrets to Total Self-Confidence, which continues to be a bestseller after its publication almost 30 years ago. Dr. Anthony, on behalf of myself and everyone listening, welcome to the call.
Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot, Lance. So what I'll do is I'll just get right into this, because I really have a lot of information to share with you today. And this is really an interesting subject, and I know you're going to take away some very powerful principles that are going to help you along your journey to personal and financial freedom. I've always been interested in the power of the mind since I was a kid. In fact, as a child, I had no interest in sports, cartoons, comic books, or the typical kid things. Instead, I found it more interesting to study and read about the power of the mind. The first book that I read was Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And then I read Claude Bristol's The Magic of Believing, and then Joseph Murphy's The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And when I was in my late 20s, I had the opportunity to meet a man named Anthony Norvell. And at that time, Norvell was known as the 20th century philosopher. And he wrote several books, including a book called Metaphysics, New Dimensions of the Mind. And every Sunday afternoon, Norvell would speak to large audiences at Carnegie Hall in New York City. A friend of mine who knew Norvell personally invited me to attend one of his lectures. And after the lecture, my friend introduced me to Norvell. And we talked briefly. And to my surprise, Norvell asked me to join him for lunch at the Rainbow Room in New York City. Now, the Rainbow Room, in case you've never heard about it, is an upscale restaurant on the 65th floor of the GE building at Rockefeller Center, right in Midtown Manhattan. Now, in those days, it was the in place to go. Now, I'd never been to a place like this, so it was an amazing experience for me. And as Norvell and I talked, it was also amazing how much we had in common, not only in regard to our interest in the power of the mind, but we both came from an Italian-American background, and strangely enough, we even looked like each other. In fact, if you saw the two of us walking down the street, you would swear that we're father and son. So near the end of the lunch, Norvell asked me what I wanted to accomplish with my life. And I told him, I want to learn what you know. And he said, I'll teach you. So for the next 2 years, he became my mentor. And this started me on my journey into learning about the power of the mind. And later on, I would earn a degree in psychology and study hypnosis under the instruction of one of the greatest hypnotists of all time, Harry Aaron. And after that, I became a certified hypnotherapist. What I learned in my hypnosis training really paralleled what I had learned from Norvell about the power of the subconscious mind. So over the years, I've studied many aspects of personal development, but they really all boil down to one thing. If we change our subconscious blueprint, then we can change our life. So for the next few moments, I'd just like to share some insights with you on how the mind works and how we can reprogram or repattern it to accomplish anything that we desire. But before we get into that, let's just talk about the concept of one brain, two minds. Now, although we have one brain, we possess two minds or two phases of mind power, which is the conscious and the subconscious. Now, it's important to understand the function of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind because each one has different functions and abilities and capabilities. So when we talk about the conscious mind, we're talking about your everyday normal state of awareness. Now, the problem is that the conscious mind is very limited. However, it has some very important functions. For one thing, it's very good at planning things. It's good at taking a mental trip into the future, breaking things down into the steps in between, and then making sure we can get there. So without a conscious mind, you wouldn't be able to plan effectively, and of course, without planning, you'd be living in a world where not too many things would get done. Now, the beauty of the conscious mind is that it allows us to have self-awareness. If you had no conscious mind, you wouldn't be able to appreciate beautiful scenery. You couldn't fall in love and know you're doing it. You couldn't appreciate or stand back after having done a task and look at it and be proud of what you've accomplished. So your conscious mind's very important. It allows you to appreciate the good things in life, and it also allows you to decide, what is it that I want more of? It's also the place where you have reason. So reason and logic rests in the conscious mind, and it's a very valuable skill to have. Now, the subconscious mind runs our bodily functions. It's also where we record and we respond to habits. Your subconscious mind is where the wisdom, insight, intuition, memories, learning experiences, as well as happy and unpleasant experiences are stored. More importantly, the subconscious mind is our connection with higher intelligence. Now, a nice analogy between the conscious and the subconscious mind is to imagine a captain and his ship and the crew. The captain is the conscious mind. The captain is there to set the direction and tell everyone else what to do. The captain's primary role is to direct or steer the ship. Now, it would be ridiculous for him to go down to the boiler room and push more coal into the steamer and run around scrubbing the decks and trying to paint the ship and making meals and attending to everything else. That's what the crew is for. So the captain represents your conscious mind, and the crew and the ship represent your subconscious mind. So the difference between the conscious and the subconscious, one gives directions, the other follows orders. Now, your subconscious mind is also the place where your emotions come from. Emotions are the fuel that drives us. With no emotions, you have no drive. You have no ability to do anything or achieve anything. The subconscious mind is also the place of our stored memories. It's the place where all your experience, wisdom, and understanding about your world and the way it works are stored. Try this. Think about your phone number for a moment. Now, where did that phone number come from? Well, if you're honest about it, you don't know. You just know that it's there when you need it. That's how the subconscious mind works. It stores information, and when you need it, it brings it up to your conscious awareness. So from the moment we get up in the morning till when we go to bed, we operate mostly from the subconscious. Now, here's something interesting about the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is aware of what's going on in your world about 1/2 second before you're consciously aware of it. So what you think is happening right now isn't happening now. It's happening about a half a second ago. It's an illusion of the mind that's created so you think it's happening in real time. And that's why sports stars and people who are very good at what they do rely on their subconscious mind to know what to do before they do it. Since it's a half second behind reality, there's just enough time to send the message to the brain to respond in the way that we've chosen to respond. And this is highly beneficial in situations where there's no time to think. Okay, so the conscious mind is very limited by what it can do, but the subconscious is virtually unlimited. However, between your conscious and your subconscious mind, there's a division called the critical factor. Now, the critical factor takes what the conscious mind is thinking, and then it seeks approval from the subconscious mind to pass that information along. Now, sometimes it allows it to be delivered, and sometimes it doesn't. Now, many say we develop this critical factor at about the age of 6. Prenatal and neonatal brains operate predominantly in the delta and theta EEG frequencies throughout the first 6 years of our lives. And this level of brain activity is also referred to as the hypnotic trance. Now, while in this hypnotic state, children don't have to be actively coached into specific beliefs. They develop their core belief simply by observing and interacting with parents and siblings and peers and teachers and mostly television. So up until that point, we're learning new things very quickly. Now, if you observe children, you can see how quickly they're able to pick up new information. And that's because the critical factor hasn't been developed yet. As we age, it becomes more important to exercise caution, to know the difference between right and wrong. Hence, the critical factor becomes more discerning and more developed. Now, let me give you an example of how the critical factor works. Let's say you're a smoker, and you say, I want to quit smoking. The critical factor then turns to the subconscious and asks if that thought can enter. The subconscious is in charge of our habits, so all habits are the decision of the subconscious mind. Now, as intelligent as it would be to stop smoking, the subconscious always takes the path of least resistance, and it resists change. So because of those characteristics, the subconscious will decline the opportunity for that thought to enter. You see, the subconscious operates on the principle of least effort. It likes things the way they are, and it likes routine. In fact, it hates change. Now, because it hates change, and it likes keeping things the way they are, it even tries to justify decisions. So it may try to justify the decision and keep smoking with excuses such as, I need to smoke to reduce stress, or it keeps me from being anxious or grouchy. So it may reject the quit smoking message. Now, obviously, once you replace those hidden subconscious blocks and beliefs, nothing's going to stand in the way of becoming a non-smoker or changing any other habit or changing any other aspect of your life. The roadblocks will be gone. Now, another name I like to use for the critical factor is the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper, as the name implies, is the gatekeeper between what's happening in the outside world and what you allow to happen inside. Now, the function of the gatekeeper is very simple. It's basically to keep things the same. Its primary intention is to make your life easier by rejecting information that doesn't match your subconscious blueprint, the one that you already have inside. And in this way, you don't have to keep making new decisions. You keep doing the same old thing. So the gatekeeper then is designed to keep information out. Now that's tremendously useful when someone tries to persuade you to do something stupid like, you can jump off a building and you can fly. But it's also very harmful when it keeps you stuck with a belief or a habit that you don't want anymore. And the gatekeeper has some very powerful tools. which include emotions like fear, doubt, worry, anger. These are the psychological defense mechanisms that automatically reject new information. Now, here's something else interesting and very important to understand. Most people try to change their habits and their beliefs through willpower. I will stop smoking. I will lose weight. I will be confident. I will not be afraid. I will become wealthy. Well, the problem with willpower, believe it or not, is that willpower doesn't exist. The truth is you don't have willpower, and you don't have lack of willpower. What's really happening when you use what most people call willpower is your conscious attention is overriding your subconscious attention. In other words, you can always consciously override what the subconscious mind has been programmed to do. For example, if you're a smoker and you consciously decide not to smoke, you probably won't smoke for a while. However, the moment you get distracted, the cigarette ends up in your hand because your subconscious attention says you smoke, so you smoke. Same is true if you're on a diet. When you use willpower, when that willpower, and again I'm using that term willpower, but there is no such thing as willpower, but when you use what you call willpower, when that willpower breaks, when your conscious attention gets distracted, what happens? Well, you find yourself with a cheesecake in hand. Why? Because that's your subconscious mind taking over. And it's keeping you doing the same thing that you did before, which was eat the cheesecake. Let's say you procrastinate. So you decide, okay, I'm going to use willpower. And you stop yourself from procrastinating. Now, that works okay for a while until your conscious attention gets distracted. What happens then? You go right back to procrastinating. Here's another example. You purchase tons of wealth creation products, books, audio programs, and so on. Now, logically, you know if you follow through and you apply these wealth creation principles, you can turn your life around in your financial situation. You can turn all of that around if you follow what you're learning. So you start reading and you're listening to the programs and you follow some of the steps. But at this point, you are consciously willing yourself to change your current financial situation. Now, all goes well until you get distracted by other people, problems, news about the economy, other situations in your life. Now, as soon as you get distracted, your conscious attention is no longer on your commitment to use the program. So you stop applying the wealth creation principles. The end result is nothing much changes. And most likely you'll blame the course or the book or the program or whatever you're studying. When you consciously try to change using what some people call willpower, you're okay and your commitment works. But as soon as you get distracted, your subconscious blueprint, the way that you were before you tried to make the change, takes over. Does that sound familiar? It's not that we're weak-willed or that you can't change. It's purely because you're using the wrong part of your mind to make the change. You're putting your attention in the wrong place. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that you have to change the subconscious blueprint or the automatic programming. Otherwise, you keep getting the same results no matter how hard you try to change. Now, there are many ways to do this. One of the fastest ways that I know of is through hypnosis. Now, what hypnosis does is bypass the critical factor or the gatekeeper, which allows you to rewrite the blueprint in your subconscious so that it ends up giving you everything you want out of life without any effort or without any struggle. Now, one of the things that's important to understand when it comes to manifesting our intentions is that the subconscious doesn't normally change immediately or take immediate action. Now, if we want to use an analogy, we can use the rabbit and the tortoise. Remember the rabbit and the tortoise that had a race? Who ends up winning the race? The tortoise. Now, although everyone would think that the smart money would be on the rabbit, the tortoise wins the race. And this is how our mind works. The conscious mind's like the rabbit. It's constantly jumping and racing all over the place. It jumps to conclusions, and it's always trying to make things happen. Now, that's a wonderful attribute, and I'm not knocking it. The subconscious mind, particularly when it comes to manifesting our intentions, is much more like the tortoise. It takes time to wind up and get things going. But once it's doing its thing, the irony is that the subconscious mind will win the race every time more quickly than the conscious mind ever could. So the smart money's on the tortoise, on the subconscious. The key thing to understand is that you have to allow that subconscious to have a little bit of time to do its work, because it took time for that blueprint that you have right now inside of you to be set. So it takes a little bit of time to allow that blueprint to change. A competent hypnotherapist would be able to change your blueprint much quicker. But we can make up for it by using self-hypnosis and allowing the tortoise to do its thing and to bring us whatever we desire. Now, I know that self-hypnosis can be a powerful tool for change. And if you're interested in self-hypnosis, all you have to do is go on Google and do a search, and there's probably hundreds of them for sale. On the other hand, none of them are tied into a very powerful manifestation training strategy, such as my Secret of Deliberate Creation. Now, what makes the Secret of Deliberate Creation so different? Well, for one thing, I've been investigating and researching and teaching these principles for over 30 years, long before the words like manifestation, law of attraction, the secret were embedded in the public consciousness. So I know what really works, and trust me, hypnosis works. I know that for a fact. So last year I decided that I would add self-hypnosis to my rapid change strategy, and also I would align it with what I teach in the Secret of Deliberate Creation hypnosis. So I call it Deliberate Creation Instant Self-Hypnosis. And I added the word instant for a reason. And Deliberate Creation Instant Self-Hypnosis not only teaches you self-hypnosis, but it teaches you how to do it instantly, without me having to take you through this long, boring relaxation exercise every time you want to use it. Initially, I guide you through the steps and I repattern your subconscious blueprint, and it enables you to access the trance state instantly. This is accomplished by using a specific trigger that's built into the method. I just mentioned the word trance, so let's just talk about that for a little bit. What's a trance? A simple definition of a trance is a narrow focus of attention. A more practical definition of trance is our habitual way of focusing on and filtering information and reacting to that information, whether it's real or not. So a trance acts like a filter. People often ask me if I can put them in a trance, and my reply is, you're already in a trance. It could be the trance of happiness, the trance of struggle, the trance of abundance, the trance of poverty, and so on. But what we need to understand is we're always in a trance. I'm in a trance, and so are you. So my reply to them is, what I can do for you is change the trance. But then you're going to be in a new trance. So I often tell people that I'm not a hypnotist, I'm really a dehypnotist. My job is to help people dehypnotize themselves from habits and beliefs that are not getting them what they want, and then change that trance or change that focus of attention from one that works against them to one that works for them. Now, the problem with any trance is that a trance doesn't allow us to look at other perspectives or other viewpoints. So this causes us to view our beliefs about the world as, quote, the truth. Now, when you lock onto your version of the truth, your reactions to what happens in your world become predictable and they're automatic because you behave in a way that's congruent with what you believe to be true. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. If you believe it to be true, that's the way you're going to behave. So a large part of the subconscious patterning process, the formation of your trance that I've just described, relates to the beliefs that we developed regarding ourselves. And some of these beliefs result from something called memes. And memes are really idea viruses. They're ideas that replicate. And memes are stored in our brain and they're passed on through repetitive programming. Now, most of the time, we simply believe things are true because we've been memed. Many of our memes, or mind viruses, have been programmed into our subconscious by our parents, teachers, religion, government, and our peers. And we've never really examined them or even thought about them or how they affect our lives. So the important point here is that just because a meme has infected millions of people and millions of people believe it, it doesn't make the meme a truth. There needs to be a balance of evidence that enables us to differentiate the false memes from the true memes, or at least the beneficial from the harmful. Now, young children are particularly influenced or memed by authorities in their lives. When a parent or a teacher tells a young child that he's sickly and stupid or bad or undeserving, this is downloaded as a fact into the child's subconscious mind. When the church tells them that they're a sinner and they're inherently bad, this is also downloaded as a fact into the child's subconscious mind. These subconscious self-defeating beliefs are like a chunk of green kryptonite from Superman's home planet. That green crystal that was the one thing, if you've ever read Superman, that green crystal, kryptonite, was the one thing that could strip Superman of his powers. And for us humans, the faulty programming, especially from our childhood, is our kryptonite. Now, kryptonite wasn't evil by nature, but used in the wrong way, it stripped Superman of his powers. And the kryptonite of false beliefs will strip you of your powers as well. And unfortunately, the programming of our childhood is held in our subconscious, and it comes back to plague us as adults, and it robs us of our superpowers. And this is what causes many people to feel stuck and ineffective and victimized, in spite of the fact that their conscious attention is focused on success. See, again, the problem with living in a trance is we don't know that we're in the trance. We think we're thinking, but for the most part, we're not thinking. We're just reacting to life based on our beliefs. And this causes us to act in habitual ways that are in accordance with those beliefs, which are mostly subconscious. Said another way, most of the time you're on autopilot, but you think you're flying the plane. Now, a few moments ago, I talked about the gatekeeper. The purpose of the gatekeeper is to keep you in your current trance. And now, in order to change that trance, we have to get by the gatekeeper. Therefore, your task is to get that gatekeeper out of action or out of commission so that you can go straight to the subconscious where the blueprint is, change that blueprint, and make it richer, healthier, and happier. You want to write the blueprint so that your subconscious attention ends up giving you everything that you want in life. And that's what self-hypnosis, in particular deliberate creation instant self-hypnosis, is designed to do. It gives you the ability to change your subconscious blueprint so that all the energy goes in the direction that you want it to go. And when you do that, life becomes easy, natural, and effortless. No willpower, no forcing, no unpleasantness required. And this is incidentally why so many people fail at creating what they desire. It's because they're using the wrong mind to solve their problem. They're using their conscious mind. But if the problem is lodged in the subconscious, then you have to get to the subconscious to solve the problem. See, by going to the place where the problem exists and resolving it, you create true freedom. You just need to know how and where to go inside your mind to make the necessary changes so that you get what you want instead of what you don't want. And you do this by silencing the gatekeeper and then rewrite the blueprint any way you want to. Now, before I go any further, I just want to clear up a few misconceptions about hypnosis, because some people are a little bit concerned about it. They're a little bit nervous. I think they just probably watch too much television. But first of all, hypnosis is natural. It's one of the most natural things in the world. In fact, you spontaneously fall into hypnosis, or what I call little mini trances, throughout the day, even without realizing it. And that's why you have the capacity to change your life. Here's how it works. Things happen in your life that cause you to become discontent. Now, because of the discontent, you decide you want to eliminate or change what you don't want, or better yet, move towards what you do want. This causes you to have little mini trances or hypnosis experiences. And those experiences allow you to begin the process of slowly changing that blueprint. So you repeat these little mini hypnosis trances over a period of time, and your life changes. But again, this is a very slow process. However, this hypnotic phenomena is going on all the time. So the first thing to realize is that hypnosis is actually natural. It's going on all the time. Next thing is, you can't get stuck in hypnosis. Hopefully, if you understand it's a natural process, you realize it's impossible to get stuck in hypnosis. How could you do that? You know, you've been in these mini trances through your whole life, and you always come back because your body knows how to do it. Actually, the worst thing that can happen when you're in self-hypnosis, and it's something to look for, is that you can fall asleep. You fall asleep, you have a great rest, and then you wake up refreshed and revitalized. The only problem with that is that you might fall asleep before you have a chance to change the blueprint, in which case you're going to have to do it again. Now, I'm not sure what other self-hypnosis programs teach. However, with deliberate creation, instant self-hypnosis, I teach my students how to do it instantly. So this never happens. So for the moment, just realize hypnosis is natural. You can't get stuck in hypnosis. And finally, no harm can come to you while you're in self-hypnosis. For those Freudians among you who think that the subconscious is this pit of evil, seething desires, and they have to be repressed, you know, it's important to understand that the subconscious mind maintains balance and it protects you from harm. And moreover, your subconscious mind protects you from all kinds of things that you're not ready to handle yet. It's been protecting you for your entire life, and it won't stop now. So the purpose of using self-hypnosis is purely to open the door to your subconscious and say, this is what I want. This is the new plan. This is what we want to achieve. And when you're in self-hypnosis, you open the window of opportunity to talk directly to your subconscious mind without interference. And as you know, the subconscious blueprint decides how your life's going to go. Whatever's in that blueprint right now, that's the way your life's going to go until you change it. However, that blueprint has to be protected by the gatekeeper. When the gatekeeper gets thrown offline or distracted, that's when the changes can be made. So what's happening is that the very same mechanism that's protecting us from leaping off a tall building and killing ourselves, the gatekeeper in other words, is the same mechanism that rejects all other ideas for change automatically. So the purpose of self-hypnosis is to silence the gatekeeper at a time when you have the intention to make positive changes in your life. And it focuses exclusively on creating a window of opportunity, opening that window inside your mind, in which the silenced gatekeeper cannot interfere, and at that time you impress anything that you want in your subconscious mind. And if you use that with the secret of deliberate creation, it's going to activate a natural mechanism, and that's called the power of intention. In addition, I mentioned earlier that deliberate creation instant self-hypnosis sets up an artificial mechanism or trigger. And it triggers this natural process so that you can do it anytime you want. You can enter the trance level almost instantly. And when you do, you can do it wherever you want. You can do it when you want to. So at that point, you have true power because your intention will be coupled with the window of opportunity opening up inside your mind, which allows that intention to go straight through to the subconscious, rewrite the blueprint, and you get your heart's desire. I love self-hypnosis. Now, it's important to understand this, that when you use self-hypnosis or even affirmations, you need to be aware of something called the access state principle. So it's another title. What it simply means is this. Basically, whatever mood you happen to be in, when you use affirmations or even self-hypnosis, that new instruction for your subconscious is encoded by your mood. So whatever mood you have, that message that you give to your subconscious mind is encoded by that mood. Think of your mind like a house full of rooms. Each room is a mood. You have a happy room, you have a sad room, you have an angry room, you have a frustrated room, and a so-so room, and so on. Whenever you're happy, whatever experiences you have, all of your happy memories get put into that room. So when you walk into your happy room, you can remember all those things that make you happy, and you remember them easily because you're in the happy room. All the things in your sad room, which are at the other end of the house, are very difficult for you to remember. And if you recall them, they're kind of vague and distant. Now, the reverse is also true. We've also had times when we're feeling a little bit depressed, which means we're in the sad room. And while we're in the sad room, we remember all the things that make us sad. In fact, when we're in the sad room, we tend to remember all the things that we did to mess up our lives, just to prove how sad we really should be about our lives. Now, if anyone tries to tell you to remember all the good and happy memories while you're in the sad room, what happens? You reject them. Now, why do you reject them? The gatekeeper's trying to protect you because it thinks you want to be in the sad room. So it keeps you in the sad room and only lets you remember those unpleasant memories. So how do we use this to change the blueprint? Very simple. When we access our subconscious, we create a state or a room for the gatekeeper. This state opens the window of opportunity, puts the gatekeeper to sleep while you do the change work, and then creates the perfect conditions for your intention. And that way, you decide to reset some part of your subconscious blueprint. So all you have to do is you walk through your house, open the door to the special room, the gatekeeper falls asleep, and like a hypnotist, you put it into a trance, you do your work, you walk out, the gatekeeper wakes up. As far as he or she is concerned, nothing's changed. But he or she is now protecting the new blueprint with as much vigor and commitment as he or she did to protect the old one. See, unfortunately, most people try to change their subconscious blueprint. They're usually in a state of fear, so they're using a fear state. They're trying to change something that they want to get away from. Could be a habit or a fear, relationship situation, health situation, financial situation. So their state or their mood is fear-based. They're trying to move away from what they don't want instead of going towards what they do want. And this fear-based state only serves to reinforce their current situation because they're in the wrong state. I thought you would enjoy this metaphor. A man gets up in the morning, he takes a shower and he shaves and eats breakfast and he climbs down the stairs and he boards the bus and he goes to the Santa Monica Beach, which is about a 45-minute ride. And he steps off the bus and he feels the beach under his feet and he walks down to the beach. And every day he goes to the beach and he looks for the Statue of Liberty. And lo and behold, there's no Statue of Liberty. And as night falls, he looks over the water and he sees the Santa Monica Pier and he turns and spins around and he sees the Hollywood sign. Then he boards the bus. He's disappointed again because he didn't find the Statue of Liberty. So he's been doing this for years and every day does the same thing. Once again, he gets up in the morning, goes to Santa Monica Pier, even more disappointed than the day before. And he sits in his chair and he's crying tears of sadness, dismay, and he's frustrated. Finally, one day, a woman walks up to him and says, "Why are you so distraught?" And the man tells her, "Well, every day I come down to the Santa Monica Pier to see the Statue of Liberty, but I can never find it." And the woman says to him, "No wonder you can't find it. You're in the wrong state." Okay, it's pretty corny. But the lesson here is, even if you're a well-meaning person, if you're in the wrong state of mind, you will not find what you're looking for. You have to be in that right state of mind to achieve anything in life. And in order to make the positive changes in your subconscious, you have to have that state. And that state should always be one of enthusiasm and expectancy and moving toward what you want and not what you don't want. Okay, now this is where it gets a little tricky, and this is very important. It's not enough to just go into a self-hypnotic experience and put yourself in a trance. Okay, that's just meditation. When we go to the subconscious, we go for a reason. We're there to give it commands, or what hypnotists call suggestions. So essentially, we're telling it what we want. So after you bypass the gatekeeper, it's going to act on those suggestions. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think there's a much better way to do it. When we approach the subconscious, we have to do it in total trust. We have to trust that our subconscious knows what's best for us. Now, it's a very delicate balance now between this active and passive process. So it goes something like this. First, you tell your subconscious what you want. But the key is not to tell it how or when to do it or how things must turn out. In other words, you have to detach from the outcome completely. State your attention and then let your subconscious do the work. For example, let's suppose you want more money in your life. You could say something like, I'm instructing you to find opportunities to bring more money into my life. Then let it go. You don't say, I want this business deal to go through. I want to win the lottery. And if you think about it, why do you want to win the lottery? Your answer might be, well, to have a lot more money and I can pay my bills and live the life I want and maybe even help others. But on the surface, this seems positive. But what you're really doing is telling your subconscious how you want to accomplish your financial goals. Your solution is the lottery because you can't see any other way that you'll ever have that much money. So you ask your subconscious to bring you the money you desire by winning the lottery. But you're giving it a 70 million to 1 odds to accomplish your goal. How dumb is that? Why not just tell your subconscious what you want and let it find an easier way to do it? Trust me, it knows how to do it. And if you think about it, you really don't want the money. You just want what the money will buy. So ask for that. Then let your subconscious do its thing, and trust me, it'll find a way to make it happen. Here are some more examples. You instruct your subconscious like this. I'm asking you to help me find the perfect house and a way to pay for it easily and effortlessly. Or, help me find the perfect automobile and a way to pay for it easily and effortlessly. Or, I'd like you to show me how to get to that perfect weight and look and feel good. And again, you're not telling your subconscious how to do it or even the ultimate weight goal. It knows what's perfect for you. It knows the perfect diet. It knows the perfect eating plan that's right for you. And it's going to lead you to that program or that book or diet or whatever it is, and it's going to be easy and effortlessly. And you're going to look good and feel good and be at the perfect weight. Here's another one. Show me a way to earn at least $10,000 a month starting next month, serving and over-delivering great value to others. So you want to earn that money, but you also want to serve and over-deliver great value to others. That's a very powerful way to program your subconscious to bring money into your life. And yet the same thing's happening here. You're not telling your subconscious how to do it or where the money must come from. It already knows how to do this. And if you have a preference in any situation, then that's okay. State your preference. But you may be limiting yourself. Instead say, if this is best for me, I prefer this car, house, weight, person, and so on, but I trust that you're going to take care of it in the best way possible. And you're probably aware that when hypnotists put people in trance, they use suggestions or commands for the subconscious. And I use them as well. However, I prefer to use instructions instead of suggestions. I instruct the subconscious to find the solution. And this gives me much better results than using suggestions. So the less input from me or my client, the better. So what you need to know about the subconscious is that it's open at both ends. Now by that I mean one end you can program it with the conscious mind, but the other end is open to higher intelligence. And it's not limited by time or space. It has direct contact with source energy that knows what's best for you. It knows your true purpose, and it's going to give you solutions that are in alignment with that purpose. And when this happens, you can't go wrong. It's going to work out perfectly for you every time. And this is where the law of attraction kicks in. And everything that you've read or learned about quantum physics comes into play. If you use my Secret of Deliberate Creation program, you know that, how all this works. And you can have total trust in this process. Let's just look at this a little deeper. Most of us know what we want on a superficial level. We want a better house, a better car, better quality relationships, maybe a new relationship, more money. But the trouble is, we're operating from a belief system that can only see what it already knows. But the truth is, we're inherently limited in what we can manifest from our conscious minds. Why? Because our conscious minds can't see much more than what looks possible for us under our present circumstances. Personally, I don't trust the conscious mind. People come to me and they start telling me their story. They want help, and I know it's their conscious mind talking, because the conscious mind doesn't know what it wants. It lies. It has false memories, and they're sitting there, telling me their story. And usually, I'm figuring, well, I got to get my car washed, and I got to go shopping, and I just wait for them to get done with it, because I want to speak to their subconscious mind. The subconscious knows. See, but we're trying to create through that conscious mind. So we're inherently limited by what we can do with our conscious mind. Now, don't misunderstand me. Your subconscious needs your conscious input. Your conscious mind allows you to decide on what you want. You have to ask for what you want, and you have to do it in a state of enthusiasm and expectancy. But the key is, don't try to figure out how you're going to get it, or what it's going to look like, or tell your subconscious how to do it. And more importantly, don't tie yourself down to one outcome. Another important point here is that your conscious and your subconscious have to be in agreement. If there are any counter intentions in your mind between the conscious and subconscious, you won't get what you want. So you need to get your conscious and your subconscious in agreement. Now, you can do one of those clearing techniques that are popular now, but why make it difficult? Unlike these clearing processes that you're familiar with, where you have to get in touch with your subconscious conflicts, I believe your subconscious knows what's best for you. All you have to do is ask it to find and get rid of the conflicting beliefs. Just ask your subconscious to clear anything that's in conflict with your new goals. Remember, you're doing the work at the subconscious level. You're already there. So just do the work there. And once you've done this, there's nothing that can stop you from achieving your goals. It's like those computer programs that you buy that clean your hard drive and your registry. They go through your computer and they remove any files that are keeping your computer from operating as it was designed to function. Now, you don't have to know or discover what those files are. The program will find them, and they'll delete them, and they'll replace them for you. Now, if a computer can do this, don't you think your subconscious mind can do it? Your subconscious mind is much more powerful than any computer. So rather than search and remove conflicting beliefs, why not let your subconscious do it? Say something like this: I am now willing, ready, and choose to release any beliefs that are in conflict with what I desire. In their place, I am willing and allow you to install a new set of beliefs that are in alignment with my true purpose and desires. You know what's best for me, and I'm leaving it up to you. Now, that's simple, and it works every time. So how does this differ from affirmations? Well, affirmations are very powerful. They state our intentions in the positive, and they elevate our energy level. But remember what we said earlier, that your state or mood has a lot to do with how your subconscious accepts instructions. So if you're in that state of fear, doubt, or worry, those instructions that you give to your subconscious may be positive, but they're going to produce negative results. Like energy produces like energy. So for the most part, affirmations are designed to change you, not your subconscious. They can change your subconscious over time, but they're much too slow. Every time you use affirmations, they have to get by the critical factor. So occasionally, you catch the critical factor off guard when it's focused on something else. So the affirmations kind of slip through. But this can take a long time. That's why we use self-hypnosis. We go right to the subconscious mind, we bypass the conscious mind, and we bypass the critical factor. So here's the takeaway, or what you need to do in the next 30 days. Perhaps you've taken wealth creation programs and you still find yourself broke. So you ask yourself, well, why? Well, the why is because your desire to create wealth hasn't gotten by your critical factor. And until you get by that critical factor, or the gatekeeper, you can use all the wealth creation programs in the world. And you can apply all these miracle, metaphysical, mumbo-jumbo things. They're not going to help you. Let's face it. If you could consciously do it, you would have done it already. You have to find a way, and I highly recommend self-hypnosis, to bypass the critical factor. Self-hypnosis allows you to pop into that subconscious mind, rewrite the blueprint, and by the time the gatekeeper wakes up, it's too late. Everything's in there. All you have to do is allow your subconscious to do its thing. And once your subconscious knows what you want, trust me, you're going to be guided towards the right people, places, and circumstances that are in alignment with your desire. And it's going to show you what's required or what actions that you need to take to make it happen. So self-hypnosis can be a powerful tool for change. And once again, if you just want self-hypnosis, go on the internet and do a search. There's plenty of them there. However, if you want maximum results, then you can't find anything more powerful than combining the secret of deliberate creation with deliberate creation self-hypnosis. And that's why I took the time to put this powerful program together. I designed the secret of deliberate creation instant self-hypnosis to work in conjunction with the secret of deliberate creation. And the two of them combined together produce amazing results faster than I ever thought possible. Now, I could sell the secret of deliberate creation instant self-hypnosis for $150 quite easily. But I've decided that it works best when it's combined with the secret of deliberate creation. You're getting two full programs for the price of one, so that you can get maximum results with both programs for the price of one. You can't go wrong with both of them. So the important takeaway here is until you get by the critical factor or the gatekeeper and repattern your subconscious for wealth, you can read and you can study all the wealth creation programs in the world, and that includes mine, but you're going to be spinning your wheels. You have to get by the critical factor or the gatekeeper, and self-hypnosis is the way to do it. And once you learn how to do it, get ready to cash in big time because you will be unstoppable. Thanks again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to this, and I hope you found it interesting, and I hope that it helped you in some way. Cheers.